This is the ABS wheel sensor repair that I did. So I'll show you my findings and I'll show you how I went about it. So I hope you learned something from it, and hope you enjoy it. After doing some initial research into which wheel sensor to get, because there's a huge variety out there, I initially bought a very cheap one from eBay. I think it was about £15–16. But when it arrived and I tried to fit it, I soon realised that it was had been manufactured incorrectly. Also, from the Facebook group, I'd previously heard that the ATE made branded wheel sensor was the original fit one, so I decided to go out and find one of these. You can see in this picture, the one on the left is the one that's the cheap one from eBay, and the one on the right is the one from ATE. And basically they'd put the wrong ends on, they'd swap the ends around on the cheap one, so I sent that back and got a refund. The next few pictures are basically what I discovered once I'd removed the old wheel sensor and compared it with the new ATE wheel sensor. This next picture shows the OEM wheel sensor, the one I removed from the car, and the new ATE one that I'm fitting, and you can see that they've removed the identification from the cabling. This next picture, you can see again on the OEM sensor I was removed from the car, the Mercedes 3-pointed star, and on the new ATE sensor that I'm fitting, it's been melted away in that area. And this final picture is the OEM sensor that I removed, the one that had failed, and you can see it clearly says ATE on the sensor. Okay, confession time. I was partway through this job before I decided it would be a good idea to make a video about it, so I'm kind of starting halfway through, so I'll try and explain it as I go along and also tell you how I got to where I am before we get into any more detail. So before I started working on the car, I treated myself to an iCar soft code reader, which told me exactly which wheel sensor had failed. So upon returning home, we jacked the car up, chocked the wheels and removed the front near side road wheel. Next I set about removing the failed wheel sensor, and all you need for this is a 10mm spanner, and you just very gently crack the bolt and just wind the bolt out. Next you remove the sensor by unclipping the two rubber retainers. The one nearest the wheel sensor is different to the one nearest the bulkhead where it attaches. And this picture shows the wheel sensor socket and where it's attached to the inner wheel arch behind the road spring. And this picture shows the wheel sensor as an assembly, i.e. the two halves are together and the yellow arrows indicate the split line. This is what it looks like before you attach it back into the socket. That's the little clip that holds the two parts together on the wheel sensor. A little tip for removing it is just push it in that direction, so push it into the closed, more of a closed position, and what happens is the two little ends there spring up, so you can easily get a screwdriver on and just lever it up and gently remove the clip without any fear of losing it. Certainly don't try and push it that way to remove it, which is the more obvious way. So that's my little tip for removing it. Anyway, let's look up to in here. So the new speed sensor, it looks different there because it's in two halves, so the two halves actually clip together and then they push back in, and that little clip goes round from that direction over the clip. So that's the next thing to do to try and put that into position. This is the inner wheel arch plastic, which is pretty tough, as you'd expect, and I'm quite glad it is. But if you lever it out the way, someone suggested to put a couple of towels in. That's what I've done, just to help keep it away from on the steel inner wheel arch there. So I'm just going to hold that out of the way while I put the clip on. So that wasn't too bad, to be fair. You can see the clips in place now. The unit is in place now, and it's quite the little clip that you can see just there. A bit entertaining to get it in, a bit tricky, a bit fiddly, but once it goes in, get it lined up properly, it just clips straight in, and it's good to go. So that's in. It's nicely secure. So next thing I'm going to put the wheel arch back and finish tidying up the other end. Right, now for the fiddly bit. Little 10mm bolt and this little foam rubber shroud that goes around the actual sensor in the hub, so don't forget that. Right, that's the sensor in position. Very difficult access unless you've got really, well, it's not super difficult, but it's pretty tricky access unless you've got really slim fingers, which I haven't. I'm a bit short and stubby, so you can just about get your finger on to start the thread turning. But that's in now. I've done it with a couple of opposing fingers to actually get it started. So I'm just going to very carefully and with a lot of sympathy feel the way it goes in, make sure it's not cross-threaded, and tighten that up. So that's in now and bolted up. All I did was a very gentle little nip up once the thread is bottomed down. I was able to screw that in 95% of the way just with my fingers, so I knew it wasn't cross-threaded. So that's nicely snugged up now, and I just need to finish clipping all these back. So they need to be clipped back into there, so I'll just take a picture of that when that's all clipped back. I hope you enjoyed that. You can see still haven't found my Mercedes cap, but I'm sure it'll turn up at some point. Anyway, that was the wheel sensor video. I hope it's useful to you. I certainly enjoyed making it and putting it together. Incidentally, the AT wheel sensor I think was about 63, 65 pounds, something of that order. So a big difference from the 15, 16 quid one that I bought originally from eBay, which I think, to be honest, if it had fitted and it was made correctly, I would have installed it anyway. It was only because it wasn't. It was like the rubbers were in the wrong position for the ends, so it wouldn't have clipped back properly, and I didn't feel it was safe to install it. So anyway, that's gone back. I got my refund, and the car's running really nicely on the AT wheel sensor. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the content. There's plenty more videos on my channel of my core subject, which is the classic car restoration that I'm doing. Long story about that, but anyway, if you're interested, please feel free to have a look on the channel, and if you've enjoyed it, then please like and subscribe. I'm sure there'll be more SLK videos posted on my channel at some point. So that's it. Bye for now.